This is Rudkowski of WeAreChange.org here during the first day of the Bilderberg meeting in Turin, Italy. And of course, nothing to see here, just politicians canoodling and colluding with, of course, business titans, venture capitalists, banksters, technocrats, the military-industrial complex, and other influential fields of basic life. And this year has been particularly very interesting since it seems the Bilderbergers have become a little bit more shy. As through our reporting today, we have been detained twice. I'm hearing from a fellow reporter friend of mine that he had his hotel room busted in by the police at 4 o'clock in the morning and had a gun put to his head. And we're hearing another report of a journalist that also had a gun put to his head and was detained and interrogated for 6 hours. Nothing new, of course, since of course we had similar incidences happen to us during our previous coverage of Bilderberg. Hola, ciao. How are you? How's it going? Okay, take two. Here with Dan Dix of pressfortruth.ca. Today was a very interesting day, Dan. They definitely were a lot more skirmish than they usually are here at Bilderberg, where, 120 very influential people come together with no mention of the mainstream media while taking security from the taxpayers and spending millions of dollars on it, preventing people like me and you from actually reporting on what's happening here, intimidating us, scaring us, and also going all the way out with this insane security. No mention of the press, by the way. What a shocker. But today we saw a lot of police officers, a lot of undercover police officers, a lot of high-level police officers, military, bomb-sniffing dogs, a lot of machine guns, a lot of different things. Can you go, let's go through the day and just tell us what you saw.
Sure. We started the day by going to the airport first thing in the morning, as we usually do. Those of you who've been watching our work for over the years know that we get most of the good confrontations and the good conversations with Bilderberg members at the airport.
Yeah. And just to cut you off, last year it was brutal what me and Dad did. We were at the Dulles Airport in Virginia, and there we actually had a filming permit obtained, and all the Bilderbergers couldn't get away from us, and we had like 20, 30, I think even close to 40 confrontations with them. Some of them talked, some of them didn't talk, but this is the most important thing. When we're able to actually look them in the eyes and be there one-on-one with them, they're actually able to say something. So we had a lot of people say a lot of things last year, but once, with all this heightened security, they of course won't ever say anything at all.
Yeah, I think they basically learned their lesson after what happened last year and decided they got to switch up their strategies, because this time was completely different. We got here and we pretty much didn't see a single Bilderberger for probably a good 5, 6, 7 hours. And then they gave us a little pinned-in area for the press to try to get photos from. And of course, 1 or 2 guys came out. There was absolutely zero chance of talking to them whatsoever. So after about an 8 or 9 day of hanging out at the airport getting nothing, we decided to pack it up and leave and try to get something better. So we went to check out the private airport, and wouldn't you know it, this is where all the kingpins are coming in. This is where, the prime ministers and the heads of state and these types of guys were rolling in. And before we could even get a chance to talk to any of these people, they detained us. They took us to the side, they demanded all of our passports, and kind of held us off to the side for a little while, until they ran their security checks, their background checks. And long story short, they had nothing on us. They couldn't keep us, so they let us go. And we were able to then go on to the private airport property and continue to do what we do. And sure enough, we ended up getting a couple of good questions in, namely to the Prime Minister of Serbia. I asked her, what does she feel about the rise of populism in Europe? Because that's on the agenda for this year's Bilderberg meeting. So I said, let's see what she thinks about it before she even goes.
Yeah, they're definitely going all out this year when it comes to the secrecy, the privacy. They've been setting up awnings here because there's a little viewpoint in a shopping mall right above the hotel where you can actually see what's happening, and they're setting up awnings everywhere so no one gets a sight. They're extremely, extremely camera shy, and you would think of a meeting with no significance, with no mention of the press, with people just saying, no, we're just hanging around having a good old time. You'd think they would be as secretive, but of course they are. And this year's meeting is definitely interesting, not only because of the location here. The location is at an old Fiat car manufacturing plant, but Fiat has also played a very significant role in Bilderberg ever since the beginning of Bilderberg. But also a lot of new things are happening here. We of course have the governor of Colorado here, who didn't list this meeting in his official schedule, and many people are saying that this is going to be the man that's going to be running on the Democratic Party in 2020 against Donald Trump. We're not seeing that many Trump representatives like we did last year. We do see Peter Thiel and Henry Kissinger and Donald Trump's former co-chair of the Federal Reserve, who resigned, also here at this year's meeting. But it's also a very European, very woman-heavy kind of meeting. And the thing that sticks out to a lot of people here, especially this year, is, of course, this is the first year that they're having a member of the Vatican. They're having a cardinal who is designated the Secretary of State of the Vatican, actually coming here to Bilderberg for the first time, mixing religion into this very business-heavy, technocratic-heavy kind of agenda that they always have, which is like kind of mind-blowing to see. This is also Turin, the town, has a lot of significance because this is where the cloth of Turin is. Is that how you say?
The Shroud of Turin, yeah.
The Shroud of Turin. Dan knows more about this. He's going to explain this in a little bit. The Shroud of Turin is, which is supposed to be the cloth that Jesus Christ was wrapped in after he was crucified. Then he came back to life, and it imprinted his image. Many scientists argue and still debate about this. Some people say it was a medieval prank. Some scientists say, no, this is legitimately Jesus Christ's cloth that he was wrapped in. So a lot of spiritual, religious significance here too. What do you take from that, Dan, since you're also very religious as well?
Well, I don't put a whole lot of weight into the Shroud of Turin. I don't know if that's real or not. Just like you. I mean, I'll take it with a grain of salt. It's been debated over the years. I have no idea if that thing is real or not. Still, it'd be interesting to check it out while we're here. But back to the Vatican. I mean, the fact that they have a cardinal here at the Vatican is very interesting. And when you want to talk about religion, look at the Catholic Church, one of the biggest in the world. So when you have, over 1 billion followers, of course you're going to want to be able to control that and manipulate that. And I feel the Catholic Church has been infiltrated by these types of elitists centuries ago, and it's really gone down the tubes, probably since the 15th or 16th century, maybe even earlier, maybe since the Pope banned the Knights Templar, and they probably had a vendetta against them ever since. And now they're trying to maybe get them back into the fold so they can really control that billion group of followers. So it's interesting to see somebody like that here at Bilderberg meshing with the power elite of the world today.
Well, the Vatican has been more and more political, especially with the new pope that just came in, calling for more mass migration, calling for more leftist policies, calling for migrants to assimilate and to mix in with the European cultures because the European countries are dying with their population. So we're seeing a lot of politicizing, especially with religious aspects here at Bilderberg for the first time.
Correct you. I'm not necessarily religious. That's what they are. That's the Catholic Church. That is religion. What I have is a personal relationship with my Creator. That is something very, very different from what I see coming from the Catholic Church. A lot of people I know who are born and raised in the Catholic Church are some of the people who hate God the most. They're staunch atheists. They hate the church, and so I don't put myself into the camp of someone who's religious. I don't even like to use the cliche term spiritual. I just simply have a one-on-one personal relationship with my Creator.
Talking about God, let's get into AI and the AI-heavy meeting that this is going to be taking place with so many people from Google, with so many people from other artificial intelligence, biometric companies also being here, which is also terrifying. Another connection to the Pope, which is interesting. Henry Kissinger, who of course is here, has been advising the Pope officially. But really, when we're talking about quantum computing and artificial intelligence and DeepMind and all the Google executives that are mixing here, I think that is something to really, really be worried about, especially with the advanced technological advancements that they have been making with so much power given to Google and so much authority given to Google. It's really, really interesting to see their presence, as well as Peter Thiel presence, as well as other technocrats' presence kind of be established here more and more every single year, which shows you kind of direction that they're going to. But this is just what we're seeing here on the first day of the ground. Dan, do you want to say anything else about artificial intelligence or just your first day here at Bilderberg?
Well, I think it comes down to their getting back to the times of old of wiping out the middle class and reducing the world to two groups, the very rich and the very, very poor. And it's quite potential for this new quantum computing and AI technology to do that, to be able to achieve such an agenda. So that's what we could be seeing them, this year, having all these tech gurus and people of that nature. Not only that, these venture capitalist firms that are known for funding tech startups are also here. So it's like they're trying to, scope out who they should be funding to bring into the inner clique moving forward in order to wipe out the middle class. So, it's going to be interesting, and that's why we come to these, to continue to document it, get to the bottom of the agenda. It's only day one. We've already had an interesting day one. We've still got, 3 more days to go. So, should be good.
And it's definitely going to get more interesting from here, as obviously we are going to be on the ground reporting for you here with everything that happens. We're going to investigate those stories that we're hearing of more intimidation by the police. As you can see, we're being there's guys watched right now, and they're right behind us. So don't tell anyone. But obviously we have nothing to hide. We're here mainly because of you, mainly because of your donations, mainly because of you guys buying our t-shirts, which Dan also has Bilderberg t-shirts. We have Bilderberg t-shirts for sale. Your purchase helps make this broadcast possible, and we're here putting our butts on the line because we believe in reporting on something that the mainstream media will never touch. You got to be better than the mainstream media, and it begins here with doing the job that they won't. This is something fascinating, this is something interesting, this is something that needs to be reported on, and it's only being reported on because of you and your support. So again, thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.